Uganda's Foreign Minister Sam Kahamba Kutesa was elected President of the United Nations General Assembly's 69th session on June 11, 2014.
One of the priorities I highlighted for this session is continuing focus on the revitalization of the General Assembly and the reform of Security Council.
He assumed office at a time when a quick-spreading Ebola outbreak was threatening West Africa. There was a great need to set the path for further sustainable development goals, building on the expiring Millennium Development Goals, and hundreds of thousands of Syrians were fleeing the civil war in their country for Turkey, Jordan, and Lebanon. Now the focus of the refugee-migrant crisis has shifted to Europe, where EU leaders are struggling to develop solid plans to handle the massive influx of people from Africa and the Middle East. Under Mr. Kutesa's watch, the UN Mission for Ebola Emergency Response was established. There is now consensus on the Sustainable Development Agenda. Mr. Kutesa says climate change concerns and private sector funding must be considered for gains to be made at ending hunger and poverty by 2030. Among Mr. Kutesa's top priorities, advancing gender equality, setting the world on a more sustainable course, and reform of the Security Council. For more than a decade, UN members have called for Security Council reforms and argued over how to reform it.
Those against.
Critics say the 15-member Security Council is undemocratic, unfair, and fails at its peace and security role, mainly because of the veto power granted only to Russia, the United Kingdom, France, China, and the United States.
The draft resolution has not been adopted owing to the negative vote of permanent members of the Council.
We must be willing to make bold steps to transform the United Nations, including the Security Council, in a way that reflects the geopolitical realities of the current world. The decision that has been adopted today is an important step towards the ultimate objective.
In a landmark decision Monday, the UNGA unanimously endorsed President Kutesa's draft document establishing a text-based survey and formal format for negotiating Security Council reforms. Options include more members from regions underrepresented and changes to the veto powers that many say are unfair and threaten the effectiveness and the relevance of the United Nations. Paul Sisco, VOA News.